during a spiritual awakening, there's not just the whole spiritual side of it. It will reflect in your body. Some things, perhaps you might be getting sick a lot, and it's in the same area. Keep getting sick over and over and over again, and you really don't know why. And you go in and you take your penicillin shot or whatever, and it goes, but it keeps coming back. And there's usually an underlying reason behind it. And like I said earlier, the spiritual awakening can come out as a physical expression as well, like maybe we have aches and pains, reoccurring aches and pains in our shoulders, throats, jaws, constant migraines in our heads, usually because we're mentally we're putting too much attention in our mental field rather than our being. But I'm going to go into these today, a few physical ailments, a few reoccurring sicknesses that you might be getting and why you might be getting them, because they are usually a sign for a spiritual awakening, although we may not be aware of that at the start. So if you're going through these things, then this video is made for you, and I'm excited to share it with you. Now, the human body is multi-dimensional. And that sounds like quite a crazy statement to make, but really we all know that to be true, it's just whether we're aware of it or not. We have the dimension of thought, our mental dimension. We have the dimension of emotions. We have this almost sixth sense, shall we say, that's not quite physical, but is sort of semi-physical in the fact that we can feel our being. If we've done enough yogic work, or if we've awoken spiritually enough, we can feel the energy inside of our body. We can do things to manipulate that. That's for another time. What I want to talk about today is how these different bodies of energy, these different dimensions of the human body, can actually influence us physically and can be a sign that we're awakening spiritually, even if actually the side effect of it doesn't feel so positive and has nothing to do with what you might perceive as a spiritual awakening. So I'm going to get started with this. For example, within the human body, and this is more of the energy body, should we say. I hope we can speak like this. If we can't, this probably won't be the channel for you, but if we can, then that's good. We have what are called chakra points in our body. Now, I'm not asking you to believe that chakras are real. The more work you do inside, the more you awaken, you will actually begin to feel them as actual tangible things. Now, don't get me wrong, they won't show up on an X-ray. They're not physical, but they are these energy centers, and we'll say there's 6. We can say there's 7, but for now we'll say that there's 6. And if, for example, one of these energy centers is at a mismatch or is perhaps not taken care of very well because of either your diet or whatever, that will begin to express itself and become very obvious to you, because your body will get sick in specific areas, shall we say. For example, to put some more flesh on the bones for this, when I was awakening, and I think a lot of you will resonate with this, it's very daunting. It's a daunting task because you have all of this new knowledge within you that you've almost downloaded from the universe, shall we say, that you want to tell people about, but that you can't, or that you feel like you might be judged because you're not quite, firstly, you're not really understanding why it's happening to you anyway. You're not really perhaps filtering the downloads that you're getting with clarity. And also you're scared that you might be judged if you start speaking about some of these things that are a bit different and not part of the world as we know it, the scientific world. Although yoga is a total inner science, it doesn't actually, our society at the moment is in a space where it actually only really listens to the external sciences, or how we measure things. And it doesn't look at the internal sciences as to why we're here, what we're doing. So for me, when I was awakening, I used to not speak my truth. I used to get these amazing downloads, these awesome insights inside, but I'd never share them with my friends because I knew that they wouldn't understand, and I knew that it wasn't really perhaps part of their reality, any of these things that were happening. So because I wasn't really speaking my voice and really talking about the things I'm actually experiencing in my life, I was just trying to fit in externally. Oh yeah, we'll talk about, you know, beer and partying and women, and I'm like, there's actually something I want to talk about. But because I didn't, it created a sickness, a reoccurring sickness in my throat that kept coming up, and this is the throat chakra. And it was at an imbalance for me. This was a physical symptom of me not speaking my truth. So I kept getting throat, what was it called? Laryngitis or something? Tonsillitis. Kept getting tonsillitis and it kept reoccurring, and I'm like, there's got to be something in this. Why is that happening? And there was the reason. Now for some people that don't, I'm going to use the word believe, but it doesn't really need belief because it is true anyway. Whether you believe it or not, these chakras are real, they're actual points in your body. But for people that don't believe what I'm talking about, or don't have it as their experience as of yet, to them that might sound odd, that something that I would call emotional or energetic, this fear of judgment, this not wanting to speak my voice, can then express as something physical, as a physical ailment of tonsillitis. That might sound a bit odd to them. But to you guys on the channel, you're beginning to understand, or at least I know a lot of you have a lot of knowledge of this anyway, you know, and this will resonate with you, that perhaps our physical manifestations, our physical ailments have such a deeper meaning. Now it's not just sickness, not just reoccurring sickness. You might end up with tinnitus, or tinnitus, or however you say it, in the ears. This is another physical ailment that actually could be leading you down a path to receive higher communication, if we can speak like that. More downloads, more interesting little synchronistic knowledge pieces that just float into your brain as if by magic, but it isn't. So tinnitus is this ringing in the ear, and there are some things that I read that say that this is essentially life's pretty merciful, and if you keep ignoring a situation that doesn't serve you anymore, life will give you a little nudge, almost a little kiss, like a little butterfly kiss at first, to let you know that this isn't serving you anymore and you should stop. But as humans, we're a bit silly sometimes, and we tend to, well, ignore what life has intended for us and how life is trying to serve us to let us know, because the clues are everywhere. We're just blind to them because of our lack of spiritual context. Anyway, I'm going off topic. Life will let you know if little things are going wrong in your body. For example, the tinnitus, but it might start with just a little bit of earwax in your ear, and then it might grow to a bit of an earache or whatever. And if you keep not looking at what it is that's causing that, or why you might be perhaps going deaf in one ear, until you become quite aware of what it is, life will keep giving you these little hints to say, look at this now, look at this now, look at this now. So you need to actually turn in and have a little look deeper. Life's saying, look deeper, bro. Have a look. Why is that there? But these physical ailments will manifest as a sign of a spiritual awakening, especially at the beginning, and they will continue. And we can say, oh, this is quite negative. I'm awakening spiritually, that's awesome, but my body's all over the place. I'm broken. And this is just my feeling, is that actually your body's kind of breaking apart so that it can be rebuilt again. Another physical symptom might be that you actually become intolerant to certain foods. Like you might just, food that you used to eat, you might just stare at, and instantly there's this inner feeling, your energy just can't go there. You wouldn't even be able to pick it up and put it in your mouth anymore. And you're left like, what is going on? And it can be quite confusing at times, but realistically, when we actually have a look at it, it's probably your body saying, actually, that food, we don't need that right now, because this body needs different elements to build up its DNA, rather than what you were having before. It's now conscious, your body's more conscious, it's saying, actually, I don't think I really need that anymore, let's have a different piece of food that might actually turn into my DNA in a more positive way for me. It is in my belief, so I don't know this to be true, but scientifically it makes sense. It is your DNA changing. Becoming more of a light body rather than a physical dense body. And I mean that in the realist sense. You know if you're going through a spiritual awakening physically, because inside you just feel a lot lighter. Or right at the start you might feel really, really dense. And that's understandable because all of this new energy is sort of ripping you apart inside as you become more aware of who you really are. It sounds quite esoteric, doesn't it? But it's very systematic, this whole process. So at the start, whilst your body might feel dense, maybe on the inside we're beginning to feel more alive than before. This is the switch, the DNA switch from this dense physical body into something that's more in alignment with who we are, this inner feeling field. And as we put our attention, just my experience of it, on more of this inner feeling, the less heavy the body becomes. I mean, let's think about it. Sometimes we sit and meditate. This can be a physical ailment, shall we say. We sit and meditate cross-legged, and our body is not strong enough to hold us up, and our body feels really achy and horrible. And you'd only really get that if you were perhaps doing physical exercise, loads of physical exercise. Your body would get that way. You'd hurt so much. But you're not doing anything, are you? You're just sat in a meditation seat. You're not actually exerting any energy, yet your body is really struggling to hold itself up. Well, as we bring our attention more into the inner awareness, rather than the physical ailments of the body, shall we say, the pain that it's going through, we're then putting our attention on the light being that we are, rather than the dense body that we are in this human experience but aren't beyond that. So there's another physical ailment. You might feel lighter inside. Maybe denser in your body, perhaps, at the start. But you will feel an inner aliveness that's so much greater. So much more fun. You're just like, inside, like, none of this matters. Like, we can all just lighten up. It's all just a physical existence. It's a play, it's a journey, it's exciting, it's fun, it's intoxicating. There's some physical symptoms for us. They are linked to the chakras nonetheless. And I think maybe I'll go into a little bit more about what those are if people don't understand what they are. So it's really exciting because it is quite esoteric, especially if you're early on your journey. And then after a while they become actual physical, not really physical, still won't see it on an X-ray, but you can feel them. I just thought of a really bad analogy that I could use, but I'm not going to use it. But you can feel them physically within your body, like you can this inner feeling awareness. I've gone off a bit of a tangent again. I tend to do that. So I'll take this opportunity now, if you'd wish, because this is obviously resonating with you if you're staying this far, that down below there's a free guided meditation. It will bring you into your inner awareness feeling so that we can feel more rather than going with the crazy mentalness in our head. You're more than welcome, if you like, as well, to join me on my channel. Building out a community there, and it's quite fun. I see the same people commenting over and over again, and it's beginning to build relationships, and that's interesting. I'm thriving off that. That's fun for me to see. I'm also actually building out a free Facebook community down below. Links there, totally free. Will always be free. And should you wish to join that, I want to try and connect people, especially people on their early awakening, when things are going crazy and you perhaps need a support system at the time when you really need it, but you can't find anyone that's actually resonating with what you're saying yet. That's for you down there, if that resonated with you. Yeah, so physical ailments. Energetic shifts creating physical problems for you. But it's positive, because these physical issues are coming out to the surface so they can be worked out within you, and then they won't come back again. Sometimes we need to get sick to be healthy. And sometimes in the sickness, we then appreciate how healthy we really are. When the health comes back, how healthy and how much we really value health. Because we tend to get locked up in this mental craziness, but actually if we're just healthy people, then that is our real treasure. that'll do from me, I think. Let me know of any physical tensions you have down below, any mental tensions you have down below. Like, please, because it shows me I'm doing things that you're interested in, and that gives me a little bit of a boost. It's nice to know that I'm accepted with what I'm talking about, and what I'm talking about is what you're resonating with. And laughably, I said I was going to make shorter videos, and I think this might be the longest one I've ever done. So, shows how much I know. So, thank you very much, and of course, peace.